बता देना। Okay, so now we'll begin with Unit 8, which is Government Budget. CBSE weightage is 8 marks. Now, before we begin this entire topic of Government Budget, you have to understand that the term budget simply means that we have to prepare an advance statement. Now, an advance statement recording what? The projected receipts and the projected expenditure. We also have to understand that budget is prepared by many organizations. Budget is prepared by local resident welfare association also, MCD, municipal bodies, then even the state governments. But right now for this chapter we are studying about the government budget from the point of view of the central government. So it is the union budget proposed by a central government. The first question which we have to prepare is a meaning of this term government budget, which is only for 1 mark. Again we'll be using the keyword technique. And that keyword technique says that first of all this budget is an estimated statement. So estimated statement or an advance statement, which is prepared on an annual basis, means the budget is for one proper year, that is known as an accounting year or a fiscal year. The current financial year is has already started from 1st April 2016 and will end on 31st March 2017. Now the budget for this financial year was put up in the month of February 2016, which means try and understand that prior to 1st April the budget was already proposed, and budget is a document which is first proposed by the finance minister in the parliament, then there is a debate, and then finally it becomes a finance bill. So it takes a lot of time in terms of deciding what should be the budget proposal and what should be the budget document all about. But as far as definition is concerned, again I am coming back to the definition. The definition says government budget is an estimated annual statement which records two things: government receipt and expenditure in an accounting year. Now other than this, there are two important things which is happening as far as now the next budget is concerned. Number one, government is proposing that for the next financial year, which will begin from 1st April 2017 and which will end on 31st March 2018, the government is proposing that the budget date should be 1st Feb, and previously this was basically the last working day. Now why government wants to prepone the budget date by 1 month? Because what government has found, it takes lot of time in terms of proposing the budget, then discussion in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and then the signature by the president, and by the time the different ministries and different organizations require money for this budget, the financial year already begins. So it means that for the first month, that is the month of April, the ministries do not have any money which they can actually spend. So that is why government wants to begin this time this budget exercise 1 month prior, so that the budget is presented in the parliament on 1st Feb, such that all the ministries, they get the required money before this particular date, so that they start spending and allocating money to the different areas for which the government has given them money. One more major thing has happened this year, that is that there was a different budget for rail, which was known as the railway budget. Now this year, that is again this financial year, government has proposed that now the railway budget will be merged with this main budget. Otherwise, prior to that, maybe for the last around 92 years, the railway budget was a different document and this was a different document, and railway budget was presented just a day or two before the main budget. Now why government has done this kind of a step? Government wants that railway should focus on more on implementation rather than maintaining a proper budget or preparing a budget, because finally whatever are the budget proposals of the railway, they are finally merged into the main budget only. So it was basically the duplication of work. So government has come up with two major innovative ideas. Number one, merging rail budget with the main budget, so that railway ministry focuses on implementation rather than documenting ultimately these kind of things and preparing a budget. Second, rather than focusing on the last working day or the last week of Feb, the government now says that they will present the budget on 1st Feb, such that the ministries get the ultimate amount for spending on maybe the 1st April itself. So in the beginning, what we have to work on is only the basic meaning of this term budget, and these two important things which a government has actually started. Okay, now the second major question from this chapter is objectives of government budget. Now in most of the cases, a single objective comes for either 3 marks or 4 marks, and what we saw in 2015 and 16 was that a single objective came for 6 marks. So now this is a more relevant question, and we have to focus on this question properly. Now the first objective under government budget is allocation of resources. I have to first understand that what do we mean by this term allocation of resources. Allocation of resources simply means distribution of resources. Now try to understand that government has got money, and it is very important to distribute that money properly, because you have to spend money on various sectors. One money has to be there for defense, the other money might be for social welfare programs, education, health, road, transport, communication, and there are variety of things where government has to spend money. So government has to be very careful, because the total amount of money with government is again limited, and they have to spend that money in a very wise manner. So what you have to understand is that bulleted points related to this will really help you in terms of drafting the final answer. First is, what do you mean by this term allocation of resources? Allocation of resources means distribution of resources. Now second, I have to understand that private sector, they do not invest in all the projects, because their main motive is profit. Their motive is not social welfare. So there are many areas in which private sector will directly say to the government no, a big no. Like for water supply, private sector will never come, because water supply will involve a proper supply of water from the source till to the taps, and where private sector may not be interested at all because of less money or less profits. Same is with sanitation and sometimes cleanliness. So they will tell government that we will not get involved into these kind of activities. So now government will have to take out funds from their own sources to fund these kind of programs and maybe the other social welfare programs for the poor and the needy. Now what will government do? Government will have to invest money into all social programs and social welfare schemes where private sector is not willing, because the motive of the government is social welfare, not profit. Other than that, government may encourage private sector to come up into some areas. How? Government will encourage the private sector through tax concessions and subsidies. Now private sector may come into some areas if some kind of encouragement is there, and the biggest encouragement for a private sector is to give them some kind of a tax holiday or a tax advantage or tax concession, and nowadays government is open to it. Let us take an example that if you really want to develop one area and you really want an investment into that area or an industry into that area, or you want educational institutes or a shopping mall, so what government can do, government can give a tax holiday to the private sector so that they start investing into that area, and in that case government will not have to invest, and government will save lot of money on that. So government may give them some tax concessions or subsidies so that private sector is also encouraged. Now what will happen, if private sector takes the charge for some areas, the government expenditure will fall. Let me give you an example, that if government was proposing to set up something in an underdeveloped area and the cost for that project was 500 crores. Let us take an example that the cost was 500 crores, which government was planning to invest. Now what government has done, government has given some tax concession to the private sector and encouraged them to invest this amount. And what private sector wants is some kind of a tax benefit. And say for example, government has given them the benefit of 100 crores. So in this scenario also, what has happened, government has saved, the total savings for government is actually 400 crores. How I have come to this figure? This was the amount government was planning to invest. This is the benefit the government has given to the private sector. So now what has happened, this 500 crores spending has been done by the private sector, not by the government sector. And government has given them some kind of a tax concession. So now what has happened, 100 crores will be the less revenue or a receipt for the government. So government will sacrifice this 100 crores just to take an advantage of the fact that they will have to spend less 500 crores. So the net benefit to the government will be around 400 crores. Now apart from that, government will be able to manage and will be able to manage all the allocation of resources if government takes these kind of steps, because for the entire economy some area has to be managed by government And some areas, if you give some kind of a tax concession and subsidy to the private sector, government will able to be manage their funds in a better way and will be able to save lot of money, and maybe it may help government to reduce its expenditure side and then focus more into the areas where needy people are there, poor people are there, and the social welfare programs are attached. Now, how to prepare this answer? My suggestion is that first step is to start jotting down the points, because if you actually prepare the bulleted points, the bulleted points will actually help you to draft your own paragraph. Do not focus that maybe you have to focus on a particular line or a paragraph which is bookish. You can prepare your own answer, but it is always better that you are for self-study, you start learning the bulleted points and start elaborating on that in your own language. Because if you will write in your own language, you will be able to express in a much better way as compared to any particular bookish language. Okay, now the second objective of government budget is to reduce inequalities of income. Because any government operating, their motive is not profit, but the motive is social welfare. And social welfare objective can easily be met if the government focuses on this point, that is to reduce the inequalities of income. Now first let us understand what do you mean by this term inequalities of income. Inequalities of income means unequal distribution of income. And there is a huge gap between the rich person and a poor person. Also, region wise, there is a huge gap between one region and the other region, depending on the opportunities given to the different regions or different people. Now, what can government do? Government through its budget can actually impose high taxes on rich people, because the focus point of the budget is government receipt and government expenditure. Government receipt can easily be increased by putting high taxes on rich people and high taxes on luxury products like an expensive gold jewelry, expensive diamond jewelry, expensive mobile phones, laptops, and sometimes even more taxes on something which is harmful like cigarette, tobacco as well as alcohol. So government can have huge collection of money from this area, and once the money is collected, that money should be actually spent on social welfare programs of the poor person, whether it is education, healthcare or any other kind of a subsidy. Because if you really want to help a poor person, it is always better to give proper education and skill building, and that is why government has also started this concept of Skill India, where skills will be provided to the human, and if human resources are equipped with skills, they'll have more and more job opportunities. So what government will do? Government will start investing all this money into these areas. Now what will happen? If you start investing into less developed areas, that investment, whether into a form of a social infrastructure or an economic infrastructure, will create more job opportunities. And once there are more job opportunities, automatically the income levels will rise. And once the income level rises, there will be less gap between rich and poor person. So now what will happen? Rich person, poor person. So gap will reduce. How? Rich person, you can actually reduce their disposable income by putting taxes, and for a poor person you can create more job opportunities. So this gap will reduce. This gap will reduce on an individual basis also and on the area basis also. And the best example to understand this is a Manesar. Manesar was a very remote town, and when Maruti started investing into that area and set up their automobile plant, the whole set of opportunities started coming up. And not only Maruti, even the government started encouraging more and more industries into that area. So now what has happened? There are huge investment into that area, job opportunities have been created, and automatically the gap between the society, the gap between the region is actually narrowing down. So that is the whole objective of this. Now how to do? Again, self-study, because this single point can come for 3 marks also, 4 also, and as well as I have told you that in 2015 as well as 16, the weightage was increased by CBSE also. There is no justification for that. The content is almost same, but we'll have to prepare ourselves for 4 as well as 6 marks. So my suggestion is that first step, again focus on the bulleted points and then convert these bulleted points into your own language, and which will actually make it a very easy answer. Okay, now the third major objective of government budget is price stability. This is also known as stabilizing activities. Again, the weightage may vary from 3, 4 and even 6 marks as told earlier. Now, how to go about this and what will government do? There are two major problems government will face, either inflation or deflation. The root cause of inflation is very high money supply, and the root cause of deflation is very low money supply. Both are problems for the government. So government will manage these two problems with the help of its government budget. Let us understand how. During inflation, there is high money supply in the economy. So now what will government do? Government will increase its taxes on the individuals and corporates and companies. Now what will happen? It will reduce their disposable income. So let us take an example. The earlier rate of tax was 20% and now government has increased it to 30%, which means the disposable income of that particular person or people will actually reduce. Now what will happen? If my disposable income is less, automatically I have less money to spend, and if I have less money to spend, which actually means that now money supply is less in the economy. So if money supply is less in the economy, government will be able to tackle the problem of inflation. And simultaneously, government will also have to reduce its expenditure. Now this is very risky, but government will have to resort to these kind of activities, and government will focus on wasteful expenditure here. Because if government will spend less money, there will be less money into the hands of people and it will reduce money supply. So once you have reduced the money supply, you will be able to tackle the problem of inflation. And to the contrary, the opposite side is deflation. Deflation means very less money supply. Deflation is also a very big problem, where there is no demand for goods and services. The prices are going down, but do not get confused. Prices are going down, but people do not have income actually to buy those goods and services even at a low price. So now what will government do? Government will now decrease the taxes. So decrease the taxes means if the tax rate was 20%, now it will reduce to 10%, which means I will have more money to spend. So once I start spending money, automatically that will increase the money supply, and there will be huge demand of goods and services, and government will be able to solve this problem of less money supply. Government will also increase its expenditure. Whenever there is a slowdown, recession kind of a thing, deflation you call, government will start incurring more and more expenditure, because more government expenditure means more income into the hands of people. So now what will government do? Government will increase its expenditure. So what will happen? It will give more money to the people, and now if people will have more money, government will be able to solve this problem of deflation. Now to sum up, the concluding line says that by implementing the policy of government expenditure as well as the government taxation, overall government will be able to manage this, either the problem of rise in price or the rate at which price rise, as we specifically call it as inflation, or the rate at which price falls as deflation. So government will have to manage price stability through its policy of taxation as well as through its policy of government expenditure. Again, same strategy, bulleted points to be converted into a well drafted paragraph, or maybe you can elaborate these bulleted points to make it a more meaningful and a relevant answer based on the weightage. Now these were the three major objectives of government budget. There is one more objective which is only for 1 mark weightage, that is to manage the public enterprises. There are many companies which are owned by the government. Like you might have heard about the name of a company like SAIL, Steel Authority of India Limited, ONGC, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation. Now what will happen? Government sometimes will have to spend money into all these companies, and where that money will come? It will come only from the government budget. So government expenditure will increase, and once these companies start earning profits, that money will again come back to the government budget in the form of receipts. So government will also manage their public sector companies or the government owned companies through government budget. But this particular objective, that is managing your public enterprises, is only for a single mark weightage and not been asked so frequently by CBSE. So the entire focus should be on these three objectives. Number one, allocation of resources. Number two, inequalities, that is reducing inequalities of income. And the third one is ultimately stabilizing activities.